Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk to you all about noun clauses. Alright, so let's start by talking about what a noun is first. A noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. So for example, I can use a noun at the beginning of my sentence as the subject and I can say trees grow outside. Trees, that's a noun and it's the subject of my sentence. Trees grow outside. I can also use a noun at the end of my sentence as the object, and I can say, I love trees. Trees is the noun. So, what's a clause? Well, a clause is a group of words with a subject and a verb in it. Some of them are complete and can stand on their own, like I like trees. That is a complete sentence. It's an independent clause. It has a subject and a verb in it, and it can stand by itself. But some clauses are not complete, or they're called dependent clauses. And you can say something like, when I see trees, that's not complete. That's a clause. It has a subject and a verb in it, but it's not complete. So it's dependent. So today I'm going to talk to you about clauses that act like nouns. That means you can use them as the subject of your sentence or the object of something in your sentence. All right, let's get started. Okay, to get started, we are going to look at all the different types of noun clauses that we're gonna review in this video. That noun clauses, WH word noun clauses, and if and whether noun clauses. It's kind of a long video, but it has a lot of really helpful and important information. Let's start with the that noun clauses. Let's just look at these two sentences here. I noticed flowers. I learned information. So in these sentences, I have a subject and a verb and an object. Remember, nouns can be objects after a verb, or they can be subjects. In this case, the noun, the person, place, thing, idea, is the flowers. It's the object of this verb, so it's a noun, it's a thing. I learned information. Subject, verb, object, meaning it comes after this verb. And this object is a thing, right? It's information, it's a noun, okay? So we can put nouns at the end of a sentence. So if we can put a noun like this, we can also put a noun clause because noun clauses act like nouns. So let's take out the noun and let's put a noun clause. So how do we do that? A noun clause that starts with the word that starts with the word that. So I notice that. And then remember, a clause is a group of words with a subject and a verb. So let's put a subject and verb in there. I noticed that flowers, there's our subject, grow a lot. Grow here. Okay. I noticed that flowers grow here. Okay, here's my that word. Here's my subject and here's my verb. This whole thing is a noun clause. It's acting like one big noun because it comes after a verb. It's the object of that verb. It's a noun clause because it's a clause. It has a subject and a verb. And the cool thing about this kind of noun clause is you can take the word that out. You don't have to have it. Let's make one here. I learned that. What did I learn? I learned that. Now I need a subject and a verb. I learned that flowers need light. Imagine that. They need light. Okay? So here's the word that, which is the beginning of the noun clause. Here's subject. Here's verb. This whole thing acts like one big noun. It's the object of this verb. I learned. What did I learn? I learned that flowers need light. They need light. Wow. Okay. So remember, you can also take the word that out and say, I learned Flowers need light. This type of noun clause is a that noun clause. So you can use it as the object of a verb, but you can also use it after an adjective. So let's look at that. Okay, so here we have some adjectives. I'm happy. Happy describes how someone feels. He's sad describes how someone feels. I'm happy about the weather. I'm happy about the weather. There's a noun coming after a preposition. He's sad about his dead cactus. Here's a noun that's coming after this preposition. So instead of using these nouns coming after these prepositions, we can just put a noun clause after these adjectives. I'm happy that the weather is nice today. Here I have the word that, the weather, that's the subject, is, that's the verb, nice today. I'm happy that the weather is nice today. That is a noun clause. It's acting as one big object for why I'm happy. Why? That the weather's nice. He's sad. Why? He's sad that his cactus died. Right? He had a dead cactus. He's sad that his cactus died. That his cactus died. The whole thing is a noun clause. It acts like one big noun, but it has a subject and a verb inside of it. Okay? So that's the first way that we can use noun clauses, is with the word that, starting a clause, acting like one big noun. But because it's a noun, it could come at the end of a sentence, and it can also come at the beginning. So let's look at this one. That his cactus died makes him sad. This whole thing is a noun clause, and it's acting as one big noun. And in this case, it's acting like the subject of this sentence. There's the verb. That his cat died makes him sad. And let's use my example about the weather. That the weather is nice today makes me happy. That the weather is nice today, that whole thing is the subject. It's a noun clause. Makes me happy. There's the verb. So the point is that when we use a noun clause that starts with the word that, we can use it as the subject of a sentence, which isn't that common, and as the object of a sentence, which is way more common. Okay, and also I want to point out that there's certain adjectives and certain verbs that we use these noun clauses with most often. So let me give you a list of those. So here's a list of some common verbs that come before noun clauses. So I agree that it's nice today. He decided that he was going to help me. I explained that the paper was due right now. I noticed that you changed your hair. You forgot that you told me you were going to come. We learned that noun clauses can come at the beginning of a sentence. I hope that I can understand this. I know that this is kind of hard. I remember that it's not so easy. You said that you would call me. I think that you're lying. I understand that you like to lie. Okay, so those are some examples of noun clauses with those common verbs. Here's some adjectives. I'm afraid that I have to leave. I'm angry that you lied to me. I'm happy that the weather's nice. I'm sorry that you are having trouble. It's strange that the weather's so cold today. It's possible that you can still get a really great grade. Okay, so those are some verbs and adjectives that we use with that noun clauses. Let's talk about noun clauses that start with WH words. These are WH words. The second type of noun clause that I want to talk about is the type that starts with a WH word. When we start a noun clause with a WH word, it's because we're actually wondering about something. We want to have an answer to a WH question, kind of. So, where did you go? There's a question. When did you leave? There's a question. Why are you here? Okay, so here's some examples of WH questions. We can use some sort of this question as part of our sentence with a noun clause, but we have to change a little bit, okay? So we first need to start our sentence with a subject and a verb and say something like, I want to know, or I don't understand, or he explained, whatever. Or you see, I have the beginning of a sentence, but I didn't finish it. I can finish that sentence with the WH noun clause. So I want to know, where did you go? You can't actually say it like that. It's not grammatical, but you can say, I want to know where you went. Period, no question mark. I don't understand. When did you leave? I don't understand. When you left. Period. He explained. Why are you home? He explained why he is here. Period. Okay, but how do you do that? How do you get there? What's happening here? I'm using a noun clause at the end of this sentence. Remember, we can use noun clauses and make them act like a noun. This is acting like a noun after these verbs. But in this case, they're WH words. So that means they're coming in the form of a question, but not really. So let me show you how to do that. So let's take a look at this question. Why did you leave? Here we have a regular old WH question. Why did you leave? But we want to turn this into a noun clause and add it to the end of these sentences. I wonder. I want to know. I understand. I'm confused about. So I'm going to take this question, make it not a question by using just the question word, taking out the helping verb, using the subject and the verb only, and it has to be the subject first and then the verb. Take off the question mark. So, I wonder why you, and then we got to make it in the correct past tense, left. It's not did. We took out did. Did is where we had the simple past. So left now has to be in the past. I wonder why you left. I want to know why you left. I understand why you left. I'm confused about why you left. So think about it. What is a WH question that you can ask? Okay, where is my phone? Right? Where's my phone? Don't you lose your phone all the time? WH question word. Here's a verb. Here's the subject. When we make it a noun clause, we take out the question mark, we keep the WH word, and we keep the subject and verb, but the subject has to go before the verb. Here, the verb is before the subject. So you just need to move them. Where my phone is. This is not a complete sentence. It's a clause that's not complete. So just move it up here. I wonder where my phone is. I want to know where my phone is. I understand where my phone is. I'm confused about where my phone is. Okay? Be careful, because a problem that I see with students is they forget to not use question word order. Okay, so let's look at another example. Okay, when can you leave? When can you leave today? When can you leave? Okay, here we have a WH question. Let's take out the question mark, keep the WH word, keep the subject, change the verb to just what you want to say. And we can keep can. We just need to move the subject. Make sure the subject comes before. So that means you're going to move the subject, you, over here. Okay, and then you'll keep the rest of the verb. If the verb had like did in it, you would need to take that out. So let's see. I wonder when you can leave. I want to know when you can leave. I understand when you can leave. I'm confused about when you can leave. Okay, so that's how you would do that. Be very careful, because one of the biggest problems I see is students will forget to change the subject and verb position, and they'll keep it like a question, even though it's not being used as a question, it's actually being used as a noun. And sometimes they'll also keep the question mark when you don't need it, because it's not a question anymore. You're making a statement most of the time. Okay, so another thing about WH noun clauses is that, as you can see here, they're being used in the object position at the end of a sentence. You can also use them, because they're nouns, at the beginning of a sentence in the subject position. Okay, so let's look at an example here. What he wrote was not nice. Okay, what he wrote. That's the noun clause. WH word, subject verb. It's acting like one big noun. What he wrote was not nice. You could replace that noun clause with a noun. You could say, the letter was not nice. The essay was not nice. The email was not nice, right? So you can also use a noun clause. So here's an example of it coming as the subject at the beginning of a sentence. Finally, let's look at the last type of noun clause, and that is the type that starts with if and whether. Okay, so the words if and whether are used when we want to make a noun clause that's actually a yes/no question. So for example, do you like grammar? Right? Can you speak English? So these are some examples of yes/no questions. The answer can be yes or no. So when we have a yes/no question, we can change it and turn it into a noun clause that starts with if or whether. So for example, if I start a sentence that says, I don't know, and I want to finish that sentence with a noun clause, I can finish it with the that clause, a WH noun clause, or one of these. How? Well, I don't know. I want to know, do you like grammar? Can you speak English? But how can I turn that into a noun clause? Well, take off the question mark, and then you need to take out the helping verb if you have one that shouldn't be there. So you can look for the subject and verb. Here's the subject. Here's a helping verb. Here's the main verb. You want to keep the subject and the main verb, but you don't need to have this, okay? And then what you do is you need to add if or whether to the front, okay? So you're going to add one of those here. If is less formal and much more common. Whether is really formal. It's really nice to use in academic writing. So, I don't know if you like grammar. No question mark. Period. That's it. But you could also say whether. I don't know whether you like grammar. Okay, here, let's try this one. Can you speak English? I don't know. I don't know, can you speak English? That's not correct, right? So let's take out the question mark. Let's look for the subject and verb. Subject, verb, this is a helping verb. You can keep it, but you need to move it over here, okay? So, and then we move one of these words here. So, I don't know if you speak English or if you can speak English. I don't know if you can speak English. I don't know whether you can speak English. Now, let me give you a nice tip. When you use the word whether, you can also say or not right here or at the end of the sentence. So that's nice too, is you can add or not. Speak English or not, right? I don't know whether or not you can speak English. I don't know whether you can speak English or not. But you can't say, I don't know if or not. I don't know if you can speak English or not at the end is okay. But we don't say if or not. It's only whether or not. Okay, so that just takes practice. So hopefully you have a good grammar book. You have a paper you can write some ideas on and then practice on your own. And these are used all the time, very often, very common in speaking and writing. You'll start to notice them now that you know what they are, and try to use them in your own writing this week and your own speaking this week. All right, bye-bye.